most protected is that of the patient.
All right, Martin.
With respect to on your last point about how often and how regular information must come out, I must disagree with you there, and that is basically because we are dealing with a new type of media here as well. You've got to realize that you referred earlier, Khomotso, to the rules and the code of conduct which traditional media must adhere to, and I'm thankful for that. But you must realize that you've got new media coming out. You've got social media like Twitter, Facebook, all sorts of other blog sites. This is community journalism. This is social journalism, and these people are not. They don't have to adhere to the same sort of rules that traditional media adhere to, and that's why we saw the sort of messages on Twitter a couple of days back when the first supposed announcement of his death came out, which turned out to be a hoax, of course. That's why we see things like that, and that is why it is important to immediately and as soon as possible and as often as possible, obviously keeping in mind respect for the family, and I don't dispute that, but get accurate information out there quickly and as often and as regular as possible to ameliorate these sort of other unofficial news bites that are going out there, because in the absence of credible information, speculation will run riot, and then we'll see these sort of stories where at least 2 Cape Town media institutions that I know of actually published on Friday that he'd passed away. And there's a lot of egg on face for them today. But get accurate, credible information out as often as possible, as quickly as possible.
As often as possible, I completely agree. But as often as possible for me, if somebody is in the hospital ill, is not always and necessarily every hour on the hour. But in respect of the new media outlets that you spoke about, your Facebook, your Twitter, and your what have you, let's not forget ultimately where we are. We are in South Africa, and there is still tremendous amounts of issues of access for a lot of people where Facebook, where computer access is concerned in this country. Yes, I agree with the fact that Nelson Mandela is an iconic international figure, and I think, you know, the word official is always related to particularly the big media players. The SABC is one of those, and those, you know, are the agencies that people will ultimately trust most of the time, especially in a country like South Africa, and like Facebook or Twitter. And I think also what it brings to the fore, this discussion, is the issue of diversifying ownership in the media space, because the more you diversify your ownership, the more you diversify the voices that are out there. You're right to say that those 2 establishments have egg on their faces right now. So I think what we also do here is advocate for many players in the media space to own various types of print media, various types of broadcasting media, so that the voices that are out there are varied, and we educate our people enough to know that do not take at face value everything that you hear, or at face value everything that you read, and identify yourself with a source that you deem credible enough for you, so that you can get, you know, what is right at the right time. We agree on one thing. We agree that they took too long in terms of taking 2 days to come out and speak to us. But should we do it the way everybody does it? I don't know.
The press conference we saw on Friday, if I can just quickly come in there, that is the sort of press conference I would have wanted to see much earlier, where we had the Surgeon General, we had the Deputy President, you had someone talk about health, you had someone talk about government, and someone talk about the family. If we needed that sort of press conference much sooner, and the Deputy President said on Friday, as you correctly stated, that a lot of lessons have been learned here. I hope they take those lessons to heart so that we don't go through this again.
Wrapping up our conversation with Martin Slabbert and Khomotso Mweketsi. Let me just read SMSs quickly. I'm going to ask my callers to also be as brief as possible. We literally have 4 minutes left. Sipo in KZN says all parties were at fault. Mr. Mandela is being regarded as a commodity. Spiwo says, I still say that the ANC should just open a media channel that would run the lifestyles of its leaders. Then these gossip media firms would get measured information. Dan Singh says SABC's shots of his life and role was like an obituary, and in my opinion, opinion, most misleading. I was called by many believing that I was late. Someone says, all I can say is thank God Almighty that he's now well. Now all we can do is to pray for him because he is a man of a difference. May God be with him, I pray. Someone says ANC built a myth around Mandela to muster overseas support during the apartheid years. Now they are jealous of his popularity. Zoom Ed says he's the world's statesman. As such, he will never have a privacy without media scrutinizing. Right, Dennis in the Free State. Morning.
Hi, good day.
Hi.
In your case there. First of all, we needed to understand that the former state president, Dr. Nelson Mandela, is our international figure. And what has happened, according to the history of South Africa, he has put our country in the map, or on the map. With that reputation, I've seen it, people making it as if the sickness or the condition of Dr. Mandela belongs to them, especially those who belongs to the ruling party, including the leaders of the leader of our youth league. It was uncalled for to come out with a statement of saying Mandela should be, people must leave Mandela to rest. I mean, the media are the ones who must give us information. We only got things under control. We would like to say thanks to the Deputy President. He played a very responsible role, Mr. Matranti, by opening everything out to the nation, to let the nation know that what was
going on. All right, Dennis, we're really out of time, and I've got 3 other people on standby, plus my 2 guests. Mark in East London, please be brief.
Okay, yes, first time caller.
Okay.
Your lady panelists over there saying that it's un-African to want to know about what's happening with Nelson Mandela. I think it's a lot of hogwash because it wasn't Mandela that sold his funeral rights just a couple of years ago. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, thanks, Mark. Mark in Barberton, morning.
Morning, sister. We have made a terrible mistake in our lives as Africans to conform to the so-called international norms and at the expense of our African values. Mandela is an African international icon, and this will not change. And be as it is, it still also remains as it is. We have not stopped to call him Dada because that's how we in Africans in the Xhosa culture we call a person of his age. Two, a person who is sick or happy or whatever, it's at the family's prerogative to inform neighbors and the public at large. So up until we stop conforming to those so-called international norms, we will never be able to regain our identity.
All right, thanks, Mark. Wayne, please make your point in 20 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. Man, a week ago before Mandela was admitted, there was rumor on Twitter and Facebook that Mandela has passed on. Was that the correct information that we received from the papers when Mandela was admitted? Thank you.
All right, thanks, Wayne. I think we're going to have to be, literally, we have 30 seconds left, so 15 seconds each. Mokhumutu, you want to respond very quickly?
I think the one thing that we have to remember is that we are Africans, and we have to diversify media ownership so that the news is diversified in its outlook and what comes out there. And when he says, for example, I think it was Norman who called in Cape Town who said Mandela sold the rights to his funeral.
East London.
Is that a fact? Again, he read that in one publication, and that one publication has yet to put the facts on the table to prove that those rights indeed were sold. We know also of many media houses around the world that have compiled dossiers already waiting for the day that he passes away. The thing is, what stamp are we putting as Africans, should he pass away, that says this is us and this is how we deal with this matter? But rightfully, the way it was dealt with now was bad, but let's not forget, he's a 92-year-old man. Let's give him the peace that he deserves.
Martin, final word, 15 seconds.
I'll be very quick. I hope that all the government communicators learned their lesson and they paid attention. And I think from everybody, Tata Madiba, we hope you get better soon. We're praying for you.
Thank you so much to both of you, Martin Slabbert and Khomutso Moketsi. It's gone 11. Time for news.